morning. My name is Diana, and today we're going to be talking about watering and the importance of watering. We have a new crop of pansies here, and they were planted at different times, so we have different root systems in there. And I'm going to show you how to water each of the different sizes. One of the most important things we're going to do here is make sure our hoses are coiled so that there's no accidents. If you leave it in the aisleway, a customer might trip on it. And you also want to make sure your nozzle is off of the floor. That keeps diseases off of your watering head. Also, during the summertime, or even during the winter time, the water that's in the hose can get very hot. So when we first start our hose, we let it run for just a short time until you feel that the water is coming out at a cooler temperature. Hot water can injure the plants. Now this hose was already running, so it's cool right now, but you might have to wait a minute or two. Also, we want to make sure that the pressure isn't too hard that it will blow the little babies out of their trays. So I'm going to adjust my pressure so it's just a little bit softer. And this head here is called the red head. This is my favorite watering nozzle because it has a very fine mist and it penetrates deeply into the cells without injuring the plants. So before we start watering, I want to show you the difference between an older plant here. These have been in for, about 3 weeks now. And they're a nice size plant. And when we pop them out of their cell, come on little baby, you can see the roots have gone down to the bottom of the pot. So when we water these, we want to make sure we water deeply to get all these roots wet. If you water just a quick watering and you only get the top part of your cell wet, these roots will dry up and die, and your plant will go into a wilt. And if it lasts too long, you can kill your plant. When we go farther down the table, you'll see the new babies that were just planted, and their roots are only this deep. The bottom of the cell is still moist from when we initially planted them because we watered thoroughly. So down here, there are no roots that will be absorbing the water. All the roots are at the very surface. So those ones we can water a little more shallow because it's already wet down here. But I'll show you that in a minute. So when we water our plants, it's very important that we're consistent. We start at one end and we go off the table at the other side. We come back, a nice, slow, steady pattern so that every plant is getting the same amount of water. What I don't like to see is when employees are going like this with the hose because you don't know how much water went into each of these cells. One might get a lot of water, one might just get a tiny bit, and the plants are never consistent with the watering. And then you're watering several times a day to keep the ones that you missed before, keeping them wet. So I'm going to get the hose and I'm just going to show you how I water. We've already set the water to the right pressure. It's a nice soft pressure. And when I start at one end and I just go right down off the table. And then I come back in this direction, right where I left off, and I come off the table. If you don't go off the table, what happens is the very last row stays dry, and I'll see that so often. Now everybody there has gotten a nice thorough drink, but if you're doing like this very last row never gets enough water, and you'll always see that they're stunted, shorter plants, and a lot of times they die because they don't get water. So make sure you go off the table in both directions. And that's how we water the big plants. So now we're going to head down to the little guys.